She's a formidable activist. She has been working on gender long before we knew her. As you know, she wrote a play about women in Liberia and the role they played to end the conflict in Liberia. Lupita featured in that play. She's an intellectual, and also she feels very strongly about human rights. So there's a nice fit between us and her. She is very concerned about supporting young people to find the Madiba in them, to make them stronger, to make them aspire for the biggest possible achievements, even if they come from very humble background. So one of the responsibilities she will have as our global ambassador is really to be an inspiration to young people. But also, she's a very straight talker. Also, I suppose, to give them guidance about the difficulties of navigating life and why it's important to stand tall and not to quit. Because she had a formidable role in Wakanda, we hope that people will relate to that character as well, and see the role that women can play in a tough position of being a general who is passionate about her job, who is fair and fearless.
A general to take the youth of the world in general to battle. Do you think she will be able to get support?
It is a big job. You need a variety of messengers who can reach young people, because gogos like me, we cannot reach young people in the same way. So we are bringing her as reinforcement without claiming that she has all the answers, because that would be unfair to expect that of her. But she joins the forces of people who are trying to respond to the needs of our young people.
The HEforSHE campaign, if you were to give us a report back, are we making progress in terms of the leaders of the world, supporting this program?
Yes, we are making progress, not fast enough, not big enough. But definitely we are making progress. There are more and more men who are standing for gender equality, who are willing to be counted, who are making concrete changes where they are decision makers, from CEOs who are focusing on addressing the issue of unequal pay. Some are addressing issues of gender inclusion of women in leadership in their companies. Some are addressing inclusion and participation of women who are as suppliers. Some are also addressing the issue of sexual harassment in their workplace in a much stronger manner than has been in the past. So we're seeing those concrete initiatives that they're taking, but the problem is big. So we really need many more men who are leaders, and also ordinary men, to be part of these efforts. We need men in our communities. And in South Africa, one of the exciting initiatives in our communities are men in Shebeen's, where we are collaborating with Shebeen owners, with churches, South African Council of Churches specifically, to address the issue of violence amongst the patrons that attend and participate in the pleasures that we get in a Shebeen, and how that sometimes after consumption of alcohol, leads to violence against women, how access to justice is a problem when an incident has occurred, and how the community needs to be part of having a woman who has experienced violence to be supported, and to make sure that law enforcement takes issues in a manner that does not re-victimize the women. So we've seen those activities in some communities. this is not the most logical place to see a program like HEforSHE thriving, but we're excited that we are seeing HEforSHE in a way thriving in those kinds of communities as well. The current divide in the world does impact on the women's agenda, and in fact, in some cases, it is targeted to women's rights. We are seeing countries, for instance, watering down legislation that addresses violence against women on campuses. We are seeing countries reviewing legislation that has to do with women's choices when it comes to termination of pregnancy. We are seeing countries not willing to advance and invest in policies that would address minimum wage that impacts a lot of women who are waitering in restaurants where they depend on tips and so on. And these are big countries that you'd have accepted by now because they are part of the ILO, they are part of the UN Charter. These are not the issues we should be discussing with them. So we definitely are having challenges. But at the same time, you also have countries that want to do more and not less. So UN Women is working in between these extremes. We are trying to broaden the base of those countries that want to do more to support the women's agenda, and in some ways neutralize those countries that are presenting significant challenges. It is a struggle, and we just have to work as hard as we can and attract as many people and forces as possible who are going to refuse to back down, whether it is on climate, whether it is on gender equality, because all of these issues impact on women, or trade also, because if trade falters, it usually impacts on women as consumers, as workers, as parents.